Hey everyone, you're watching KTAL News Now. I'm your host Anthony Mocklin, and today is Wednesday, which means it is Wellness Wednesday here at KTAL News Now, where we have a bunch of different topics that we're going to cover today regarding health and tips you can implement into your life to live a healthier and happier lifestyle. And for those of you who are just joining us and are not familiar with KTAL News Now, we are a live streaming platform that streams every single day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. on our website at ktalnews.com, which is where you can get all of your local trending and breaking news around the area and nationally as well. But today on Wellness Wednesday, like I said, this is the health-related segment of the week with a bunch of different valuable information and local news that you might have missed earlier in the week or within the last few months that we'll talk about today. And first up involves OpenAI, and parents might have more access to their children's chat logs on their model ChatGPT, as recent waves of crackdowns have been trying to happen with parental controls and just parents fearing for their child's safety, as there have been some very tragic stories involving ChatGPT in the last few months, and as a result of this, these parents will probably end up having more oversight into what their children, especially teenagers, are doing on ChatGPT, which is a language learning model that is an AI program that spits out pretty much whatever you want to hear. And there are safeguards in place for it to help with suicide prevention and things like that, but there have already been a few documented cases of teenagers kind of circumventing those protections, and so OpenAI is looking to bolster that protection to make sure nothing like that ever happens again. And with these parental controls, parents will be able to link their accounts with their child's, as well as filter out age-appropriate responses for their children, as well as manage the bot's memory and chat history with their children. And these changes are expected within the next month, and these also include notifications to parents whenever ChatGPT detects moments of, quote, acute distress with the user. And this comes, like I was saying, a week after OpenAI is facing its first ever wrongful death lawsuit from parents in California, and they claim that ChatGPT is at fault for the suicide of their 16-year-old son. And while we're on the topic of that, we here at KTAL would like to highlight just knowing the signs of declining mental health, especially in children, especially considering that this September is the month of National Suicide Prevention Month. And KTAL's Grace Jensen has tips that you can look out for to make sure that your kid is healthy and not in a rough place, and know that they can talk to you. And these signs can be life or death in some scenarios and can save a lot of children's lives both on and off the screen.
Generative AI platforms gained popularity with younger generations for its ability to write text based on any topic. However, these platforms can have a dark side. A lawsuit filed in California alleges a teen committed suicide after speaking with a generative AI app. The family alleges AI is partly responsible for the teen's death.
Suicide is preventable. Many children and teens suffer in silence.
Dr. Pamela McPherson is a child and adolescent psychiatrist at Ochsner LSU Health. She says it's important for parents to monitor their children's screen time.
Screens can connect us with the world, but they can also introduce topics that teens and children just aren't ready for.
Dr. Sapajit Chakrabarty is a computer science professor at LSU Shreveport. He highlights a concern he sees when users ask AI a question.
One main concern is the psychophancy, which means it always seems to agree more. So whatever you say, it tries to agree. And not only does it agree more, it also kind of finds ways to agree with you.
He also shares more on the changes that AI companies are making to their platform to prevent those issues, such as answering questions with another question to lead the conversation in a more positive direction, constant reminders that users are not talking to a real person, and what he describes as finding open windows to discourage any negative thoughts.
I'm a machine, but think about it. You are awesome. You have one life, lead it well, and something like that. I don't know how psychologists do it, but they can do all those things like it and look for open windows for them.
And if you or a loved one are going through a very tough time and you want to seek help, do not be afraid to contact either a medical professional or the National Suicide Hotline, which is 988. Because mental health is super, super important. It can affect pretty much every aspect of your life. So if you aren't seeking the help that you need, nothing will ever truly get better. So do not be afraid to reach out, even if it's with a loved one or a friend. Just check on them to make sure that they're okay, because you never know what someone is going through, and you would hate to regret that for the rest of your life, because it is a permanent decision. It's a permanent solution for a temporary problem. So just do not be afraid to reach out and get the help you need. But in a wider Louisiana issue regarding littering, a Shreveport resident reached out to KTAL directly to warn us about the concerning amount of litter that has been piling up on local roadways as well as interstates. And like I said, this highlights a larger issue in the state. And our Alexandra Meacham got to the bottom of it and to see if litter is increasing and who is responsible for cleaning this up.
North Louisiana has the highest amount of litter in the state, according to data compiled by Keep Louisiana Beautiful in 2023. Bud Light, Budweiser was overwhelmingly the most common brand name of roadway litter, a statistic that can be used to hold the company accountable for their environmental impact.
It really shows the places where we can go and say, did you know that your product is littered more often than most in our state, and what can you do to help us? Could you maybe do some advertising dollars on ways to recycle?
The study shows most litter comes from people throwing things out of their windows or trucks without proper covering.
What you see when you drive by is the results of loads that have been improperly secured, which is illegal, by the way.
Residents are noticing. A Shreveport woman sent us an email saying there is a bad debris issue on the shoulders of the I-220 Cross Lake Bridge. It's horrible and should be addressed. This is what visitors see coming into Shreveport. Thank you for doing this and allowing our voices to be heard.
So Cross Lake Bridge is one of those we hear about a lot. Obviously, it's a very long bridge. It is a very busy bridge.
Aaron Buchanan explains Louisiana DOTD maintains state highways and interstates, while they have an agreement with the city of Shreveport for litter pickup events for a minimum of 4 times per year. Private contractors are also hired to mow and pick up litter.
And what we find more than anything is that even when our crews go out and pick up, that debris and that litter is replaced almost as quickly as we can pick it up. So 48 hours later, it looks like no one was even out there. And at that rate, it's nearly impossible to keep the roadways as clean as we would all like them to be.
Which shows the cultural awareness problem of littering in Louisiana.
The culture of litter is so vast and widespread in our state.
The study also revealed the majority of litter being thrown out is by local residents.
It really is indicative of the mindset and culture that we've got.
Changing that culture and mindset is the mission of Keep Bossier Beautiful, where Lynn Bryan has spent the past 5 years hosting parish-wide cleanup campaigns and advocating for environmentally friendly practices.
It's such a good work, Alex. I mean, it's so meaningful, and it makes life better for so many people when we can help clean up our city and our communities.
The state is also cracking down and offering funding to help because litter costs Louisiana $91 million annually. The legislature provided DOTD with an additional $3 million in funding to improve highways. The Lieutenant Governor's office provided grants to sheriff's offices for litter enforcement.
There's a lot of money being put toward the issue, the problem of litter and debris.
Enforcement is also strengthening for local involvement, with Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser's financial backing to launch the 855 LA Litter,
where anybody can call and report litter.
Drivers can call to report a license plate number of someone seen throwing out trash on the roadway.
So this is really, really powerful because it's increasing our number of foot soldiers that we have in our communities.
It's about changing the culture and enforcement on the ground level.
We all live in these communities as well and would love to see the beauty of our community shine through and not be covered in trash.
For Your Voice Matters, I'm Alexandra Meacham.
And Keep Bossier Beautiful is always looking for volunteers to clean up areas around our city and our community. And they are also gearing up for a nationwide movement called America 250, where they plan to pick up 250 billion pieces of litter before America's 250th birthday next summer. And us at KTAL and Alex will keep following this issue and give you the most up-to-date news regarding it and just what the state itself is doing to combat this by speaking with local representatives in the city of Shreveport and just learning about the responsibilities that they are undertaking and the amount of fines that they are dealing out to offenders who litter by the sheriff's office or police departments or anything regarding that. But one other thing that the state has recently cracked down on is illegal vape products. And this happened earlier this summer where there was a statewide enforcement operation run by the Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control, or ATC. And during that operation, they ended up seizing over $1 million worth of illegal products from smoke shops. And these included tens of thousands of vape pens, CBD edibles and gummies, as well as hallucinogens in some stores. And 3 Shreveport stores actually went under investigation, and these included the Vapes R Us location on North Market Street, as well as 318 Clouds on East Texas Street and Bean Boulevard. And these resulted in 3 arrests at Vapes R Us for possession of Schedule I narcotics, and as well as the other items that were seized across the entire state. You have 34,000 pieces of vape pens, pods, and juices. You have 16,000 CBD gummies that were seized, as well as liquids and pre-rolled cigarettes. There were 6,500 containers of nitrous oxide that were seized, as well as 800 Schedule I narcotics. And then there were also, on top of all of that, there were 1,500 tainted sexual enhancement products. So it was a very big operation that resulted in a lot of success for law enforcement and just getting those products out of stores and out of the hands of innocent consumers who pretty much don't know any better or just have all these illegal possessed products. And according to the CDC, if you know anything about the health risks regarding vaping and e-cigarettes, it is very, very detrimental, especially to the youth and the young developing brains of children. And the main perpetrator of this is nicotine, and that is present in not just cigarettes, but also any form of vapes or e-cigarettes that are sold out in the streets or in stores today. And nicotine can be highly, highly addictive, and it is especially a danger to children, like I was saying, but also to pregnant women who are carrying these fetuses and during the development of childbirth and everything. So it's very, very detrimental to the health of both the mother and the child that she is carrying. And this can harm the brain development of the youth. And if you know, you always hear, the frontal lobe doesn't fully develop until you turn 25. So anybody younger than that who is partaking in this and smoking and doing all this it poses a huge risk to the development of their brain, and this can harm the attention span, the learning, the mood, and impulse control of children. So it can affect not just physical health, but also your mental health, because it does target that brain, and that's the main target of nicotine, is to get your brain used to taking this nicotine every day and developing a reliance on it, essentially. And it's especially dangerous in younger children where they can develop acute nicotine exposure. And this comes when kids and adults are poisoned by either swallowing, breathing, or absorbing nicotine through their skin or eyes. And according to the U.S. Poison Control Center, over 80% of the calls they receive related to e-cigarettes is from children under the age of 5 years old. So it's just horrible thing to realize that, these kids, especially these young children, I mean, we're talking 2, 3, 4-year-olds that are being poisoned by nicotine, essentially. So it's really important that we get it away from them at any cost, at any opportunity that we have. One thing that's also present in e-cigarettes is aerosol, and this is a cancer-causing chemical, as well as tiny particles that get inhaled deep into the lungs that can just spell disaster for anybody. This goes in hand with the physical harmful effects, like I was saying, aside from the mental aspect. But another thing to worry about in terms of what could happen is when there have been also plenty of cases reported where these e-cigarettes and vapes have had defective batteries in them, and it's led to fires and in some cases explosions that have resulted in super damaging, harmful results and sometimes even fatal for humans. And this is just really important to stress that just because these products, you're using them regularly, anything can still happen, especially if you buy them from a shady business or store or anything, which is why the Louisiana as a whole was trying to crack down on these stores to make sure that these don't get in the hands of anyone, let alone young teenagers and children. And if you are someone who has a nicotine addiction or end up developing one, the withdrawal from it can also be as equally, if not more, detrimental, because it makes people more irritable, it makes you jumpy, you kind of have this like restless attitude whenever you're not using nicotine. It can also make you more anxious. And then in terms of your mood, you can also feel more sad or just down in general on any given day if you haven't used it yet. And it can also affect your sleeping pattern because it has such a grip on you whenever you have an addiction to it. Whenever you go without it can spell disaster, like I was saying. But as far as the mental aspect of it, aside from everything I mentioned, it can also give you problems with your concentration. And then if you aren't without it, aside from the physical aspects of your body, just mentally, you develop this craving for it whenever you're not without it. So it's like kind of consumes you, and it's like all encompassing to where it's like all you think about, like, oh my gosh, like I really need a hit, like I really need this in order to pretty much function throughout the day, which is horrible. And I encourage anybody who has an addiction to seek help. I believe the number is 1-800-QUIT-NOW. You can find all kinds of resources for it on our website at KTALnews.com, which is where we stream KTAL News Now every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. But this is just a very important thing that I want to stress again, because especially in the youth with mental health, if people go and find those resources and end up quitting, the benefits are immense. It has resulted in lower anxiety, depression, and stress levels, especially in children. And it can also improve your mood and overall quality of life. So like I said, just visit our website at ktalnews.com to find the resources you need. Reach out to somebody or your local businesses that have connections with ways to stop smoking, and whether it's e-cigarettes, normal cigarettes, tobacco, any tobacco products are, e-cigs are, a lot of people say, oh, they're safer than normal cigarettes, but they really aren't. I mean, you aren't getting as many chemicals as a normal cigarette, but it's still, none of the e-cigarettes are safe in any way. So I encourage anybody to get the help they need if they are addicted, because it is a very detrimental thing to continue to do, especially long term. But like I said, you can visit our website at ktalnews.com. which is where we stream KTAL News Now every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. weekdays. Tomorrow's edition of Weekend Events will look ahead to the weekend and see what's going on in the area and what you can do and get out the house if you're looking for something to do just around town or just have a date night. We'll have plenty of ideas. There's a lot of football games this weekend that we'll be able to watch, and I'll cover that and preview that on Friday for another edition of Football Friday. But after that, we'll be getting a brand new digital center here at KTAL, so stick around for all the upgrades. We'll be able to show y'all just how revamped everything is. I'm really, really excited about it. It's going to look awesome. I can't wait for that. But you can continue to follow us on KTAL News Now, weekdays at 1 p.m. But for now, I'm Anthony Mocklin. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.